I haven't forgotten any mine.
Morning.
Oh, you can't hear me. Good morning.
How are you? How are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Today's my birthday.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'll just wait a while. But I'm sure we'll have like more people on in just a few moments.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go ahead and make you the host.
I don't have anything to share, so.
Okay. Okay. I'm still gonna do it just because I won't be able to be on the entire time.
Okay.
But this way you'll have a little bit more control.
That's fine.
Hmm. Good morning, Amy and Zoya.
Good morning.
How are y'all?
I'm doing good. Happy
Good.
birthday, Manny.
Thank you. We'll just wait a few more minutes and
I'm
then
texting Christy Hyatt now.
and then we'll get started. Let's say like 11:05. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, great. Okay, well, I think you can go ahead and get started. Can everyone else put on their cameras so we can see your faces?
Would love to see everybody's faces. Also, this is going to be very interactive, so please don't feel, please feel free to unmute yourself. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions of you, so please don't be shy. I know agents are not shy, so let's not be. How is everybody doing today?
Great.
Good.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me. So my name is Loree, and I am with the Assistant Institute, and we help agents hire and train their assistants. And what we're going to be talking about today is you've hired an assistant, and now what do you do? How do you work with them? I've seen agents struggle a lot of times. They just don't know how to work with an assistant. So it becomes this kind of struggle of, what do I give them and how do we work together? And, you know, just kind of getting into that rhythm and flow of having them there with you. So what I'd like to do is kind of go around the room, I guess, or board, as I'm looking at it here, and just kind of give me your name and do you have an assistant and how long have you had them working with you? So who'd like to go first?
I'll go.
Sure. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, how are you? I'm
Good,
Carrie
how are you?
Walters. I have a 100% virtual assistant who is just my assistant. And she's been with me for 3 years and
Okay.
she's my third or fourth assistant.
Okay, perfect. Next.
Good morning, I'll go. I'm John Brown. I actually started back in January. I got to meet you doing one of the Ignite sessions and
Yes.
don't have an assistant just yet, but I feel like I'm growing so fast that I eventually will need one.
Okay, perfect. Nothing like getting ahead of the game. I like it. Awesome. Who'd like to go next? All right, I'm just going to start calling y'all out. Amy?
Hello. Yes, I don't have an assistant and I'm not sure I need one yet, but I just wanted to find out more about what, what to expect or what really happens when you have an assistant.
Okay, perfect. Well, hopefully we can answer some of your questions today.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Zoya, how about you?
I'm a new agent and I don't have an assistant yet, but since I'm getting my COVID vaccine done soon, I may have to travel again a lot. So I think I'm gonna need one.
Okay, awesome. So again, getting ahead of the game. I like it. Let's see, who'd like to go next?
I'll go. Hi, I'm Itzel, and I'm kind of in the same boat as Amy. Newer agent, so not right now. I don't think I'll need one right now, but maybe in the future I'll think about getting one.
Okay, perfect. We got a couple others on here. Grace?
Hi, this is Grace. No, I don't have one. The closest I've got is a contract to close person, but since business has got a little bit not so busy with contracts, so I'm waiting. Once I get momentum, it's something I will consider.
Okay, perfect. All right, did we get everybody? Nope, I see somebody new on here and I may butcher that name. Navani? I may not have said that right.
I think that might be Scott Verani.
No,
Maybe.
maybe.
Hey, good morning. My name is Scott Verani. Thanks, Carrie. Yeah, I do have an assistant. I didn't hear the whole question, but I do have an assistant. She does my contract to close, and she also does a few of my rental properties that I own myself. But I'm looking forward to hearing what else we can do this morning.
How long has she been with you?
So this one, the one I have now is very new. She's only been there for maybe 3 months, 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
Previous to that, I had one that was with us for 3 years. So a lot of transition recently. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you guys for all sharing that. And I love the newer agents that are looking ahead and building their goals and seeing what's coming at them, because what happens a lot of times is agents don't realize they need help until it's too late. So looking ahead is a really good thing. So what I wanted to talk about first, and one of the biggest things that agents need to do a little bit before they hire actually, is get the job description in place, right? Really understanding what this person is going to be doing for you, right? Don't just hire somebody and say, okay, here you go, I need help, go. Right? If you don't know what you want them to do, they're not going to know what to do for you. So really building that job description before you make the hire is going to be half the battle. But then once you do make that hire, part of what we teach is identifying your lanes, right? You can call them buckets, I call them lanes, but really knowing where each of you are supposed to be at all times. So in my personal opinion, I believe agents have 4 lanes. Can anybody try to tell me what those 4 lanes are? Anybody?
Lead gen,
Lead gen is number 1. Absolutely.
negotiating,
What was that?
negotiating,
Negotiating. Yep. That's the 3rd one on my list. So I would
Contract to
say,
close.
I'm sorry,
Contract to close.
that is not part of an agent's lane. No.
Okay.
That is not your top 20%. Going on appointments, listing appointments, buyer consults, showing houses. That's one of your lanes. And the other one is going to closing. Those are the 4 things that you should be doing as an agent. Anything else is not in your top 20% and can be pushed off or handed off to somebody else. So the admin's 4 lanes are their administrative manager. This is what I call their day-to-day office management, making sure the business is running, checking emails, phone calls, all that fun stuff. Then you've got their marketing director is lane number 2. That's helping you with marketing if you don't outsource that somewhere else. When you hire somebody full-time, they should be able to take that on until you grow to the point where you do need to outsource that or hire somebody else on the team to handle it. Their 3rd lane is listing manager. So that's handling a seller from the time the lead comes in until the time it goes under contract. And their 4th lane is what Scott had said, but that's transaction coordinator. Your assistant needs to be doing all that TC work for you. Unless it has to do with negotiating, you shouldn't be handling it. Scheduling closings, making sure signatures are on paperwork, making sure people know where to go and when to be there, right? Making sure everybody has everything that they need. That can all be done by an admin. So any questions about identifying your lanes? So one really important thing that I will tell you guys is that having been an admin for as long as I have been, and I've been in real estate 20 years predominantly as an admin, it really helps when agents stay in their lanes, stay out of your admin's lanes, let go of control of those things and let them handle it. If you've hired somebody, you should be able to trust that they're going to get the stuff done. Usually doesn't happen within the first 90 days. Granted, when you first hire somebody, you do have a lot of overseeing and a lot of hand-holding through those first probably 90 to 120 days. But after that, they should be proven to you that they can take it. Let it go. Your assistant can be checking your emails all day. In my opinion, when I was working with my agents never checked their email Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. I did it. All the phone calls came to me. Their cell phone numbers did not get put on any advertising, any marketing, any email signature blocks, nothing. All the calls came to me, and if they needed to go to the agent, then I would send it to the agent so that they could call them back. Imagine what your day would look like if you weren't answering emails or answering the phone. How much more time would you have in your day to do more lead generation or go on more appointments?
Mhm.
And in my experience, that is the one piece agents have trouble letting go of. I've met so many agents when I tell them to forward their phone to their assistant Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, they literally have a stroke in front of me and they're like, what do you mean? oh my God. I'm like, it's not that your phone's not being answered. Somebody is answering it. It's just not you. And that's okay. Your assistant should be a team member. They're an extension of you. There were a lot of times when I was answering the phone for my agents, I answered the questions. The agent didn't even need to bother with it. They would end up in a 20, 30-minute phone conversation about something completely different that didn't even need to happen, with things that I could take care of for the clients or potential upcoming clients, right? I'll even have agents ask me too, why is one of the agent's lanes not lead follow-up? I've been Keller Williams a long time, and that's one of the top 20% that Keller Williams will say is lead follow-up. And I challenge that a little bit because there's a lot of lead follow-up your assistant can do for you. They can send out handwritten note cards. They can send emails to check in. They can actually make phone calls depending on what they're saying. They can schedule appointments for you. So not always is lead follow-up something the agent has to do. All right, so any questions before we move on? Because the next category I want to talk about is communication. Any questions? Okay, so communication, this is another big piece where I feel like it falls apart between agent and assistant. I'm a firm believer everything in our lives lives, breathes, and dies around good communication. Whether it's relationships with family, spouses, friends, clients, customers, admin, it doesn't matter, right? If you don't have good communication, it's gonna fall apart. So what do you do to make sure that you have or are creating really good communication between you and your assistant? First thing I recommend is doing a DISC assessment on both of you. If you don't have one, your market center should be able to provide you a link where you can take one. If you haven't had it updated in a couple of years, take another one. But have your assistant do one as well. And then you sit down with them and you go over it with each other. Here's me, well, here's you. Here's where you're gonna have trouble with me, and here's where I'm gonna have trouble with you. This is what it says you communicate like, but this is what I say I communicate like. How can we get on the same page with each other? I did this with my assistant when she first joined me, and I literally pulled out not only our discs, but our KPAs. And I validated my KPA in front of her and said, yeah, this is me. And this is where you're probably going to have trouble with me. However, this is where I'm probably going to have trouble with you. So how can we get on the same page with each other so that we're not butting heads and getting frustrated with each other all the time because you communicate differently than I do? I'm a high D. Anybody else know their discs and their high Ds? I'm very direct. Very. I'm actually a DC, which is a very odd combo. It's a very odd combo.
My husband is DC. I feel anybody who works with your pain. He wants it done now and right, which is often paralyzing.
Yep. And there's not a whole lot of that lovey-dovey, feely people side of it in there.
Tell me about it.
So when I hired my assistant, I knew that was going to be a problem for her because she is more that IS-ish kind of behavioral. Her C's up there too, but I knew I was probably going to be hurting her feelings at times. And a lot of times when you're hiring an assistant, you're hiring somebody that is the complete opposite of you, or should be, you know, at least filling in your gaps, right? Well, the standard behavioral profile for an assistant is an SC or CS. S's are gonna get their feelings hurt by a high D if you have not had communication and conversation with them of here's who I am and this is how I communicate. It is not personal. It's not meant to hurt feelings. It's not meant to, you know, that you're not doing a good job, right? I'm not the atta girl. I'm not gonna give them. I watch that, you know, and I try to make sure I have to really watch making sure that I show my team appreciation because it can very easily slip past me. Right? Because I can be a machine. Like you said, your husband, I am get it done and get it done right. And let's keep going. I don't stop and say, wow, that was a really great job. You know, it just that touchy-feely piece is just missing there. But she knows that. And she actually fills in that gap for us. So really understanding who you are and who you've hired and having that conversation between, let's come together with our communication, because I know you communicate differently. You're going to ask me 1,000 questions because you want all the details, but I'm not the detail giver. Right? Otherwise, they're going to get frustrated because they're going to have questions for you that you're not answering. And in your head, you're like, I shouldn't be answering that. Just figure it out. And they get frustrated. And then you get frustrated because they're asking you questions. Right? Any questions about the DISC and getting to know each other on that level? All right. Another one that I highly recommend are morning huddles. Even if you have virtual assistants, you can do this every morning. It's a phone call. 10, 15 minutes every morning. This is not a how was your weekend and what do you have going on tonight and how the dogs or how's the kids conversation. This is a what do we have going on today? What do you need from me? And that's it. We teach the assistant, they need to ask questions of you. The assistant should lead this, not you. They should be calling you, not you calling them. It should be on the calendar. Because those of you that have taken bold, if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist, right? I highly recommend these are done before 9 a.m. 10 a.m. is a push, but you can do it at 9:30. Definitely done before 10. Because what happens after 10 o'clock? Your day goes haywire.
Yep.
And then you're not going to get it done. I have a morning huddle with my assistant every morning at 8:30 and she calls me. Some days it is a 30-minute call, just depending. Like last week I was on vacation. So this morning our call was 30 minutes because we were catching up on a whole bunch of stuff. But typically we do our best to keep it to 15 minutes. Here's what we got going on today. What do I need from you? What do you need from me? You know, that sort of thing. She's telling me, hey, you've got this appointment, this appointment, this appointment. This is where you need to be going. Right? I always joke, but she is my boss. She tells me where to go and when to be there. What to bring, right? So morning huddles are highly important for that conversation to happen every morning. I've seen them happen in the evenings too, or at the end of the day where you could have a daily wrap-up call as well if you'd like, maybe for the first 90 days, just to kind of get into the flow of things. So now you have a morning and an afternoon call, but schedule them. If they're not scheduled, they're not going to happen. So then if you're doing it once a week, now you've got a whole week worth of stuff to talk about. If they don't hear from you at all during a day, which is very likely, they have no idea what's going on. You have no idea what they're doing, right? Also, weekly team meetings. This is the one I see get missed a lot. It's very easy to kind of schedule over this or move it and not do it, or, you know, but weekly team meetings where you are scheduled for at least an hour a week. You can do these via Zoom. My team does them one in person once a month. The rest of the month we are on Zoom. We dive deep. This isn't just a, hey, what do you got going on today? This is, we talk about our wins, our highs and our lows for the week. Is there something in those lows that maybe we can do something about? Is there a piece to the customer service that we can change? Is there something that happened that we can control, that we can put a step in place or a system or tool so that it doesn't happen again? Right? If it was a one-off, then we move on. I don't want to focus on the lows, but we do talk about them. We go over our goals. Right? We take a deep dive once a month on our goals, but we do look at the goals once a week and go, okay, here's what we brought in this week. Where are we? Are we on track? If you're only looking at your goals twice a year, more than likely you're going to miss it, or you just get lucky and you hit it. Maybe your goal was too low if you just got lucked out and hit it. But we're looking at our goals because if we're not on track, I'd rather know sooner rather than later so that we can figure out how to get back on track. Right? So if you don't look at your goals at least weekly, look at them monthly. Right? And does your assistant know your goals? That's another big one. If your assistant doesn't know your goals, they don't know what they're trying to help you hit. I actually knew an agent back when I was an MCA that never told her assistant her goals. And I had a hard time understanding how that assistant understood where they were going. What are we trying to hit? So having those conversations, my whole team knows our goals. Actually, my team set the goals. I didn't. I pushed them. But the team started with the numbers, and I came back and said, yeah, we can do better than that. Because I'm very competitive. So when they told me, yeah, we want to do this number, I'm like, yeah, we're going to do this number. And they're like, okay. I'm like, nah, we can do it. The other thing that I would recommend, and we're going to be wrapping up here really soon, you guys, because this is really just kind of what I wanted to talk about, but you can have your assistant send you an end of day email. So if you do your morning huddles and you're talking once a week and they send you an email at the end of every day that wraps everything that they did today, it'll be a long email, so high Ds, don't panic. It'll be a long email, not saying you even have to read it, but it's there for you to see what they're doing, especially if they're working virtually. If they're working virtually, you've got to have accountability in there. And if you're not watching what they're doing, how do you, I mean, then you get frustrated because you're not getting what you want. And that all falls back to us as leaders. Are we giving them the accountability that they need? Right. So a lot of times with our students, when they come through class with us, their first 90 days, they are sending an end of day email every day. Now, if the agent wants to keep it going after 90 days, fantastic. If they want it to end after 90 days, that's fantastic too. It doesn't really matter, but that way you can see what they're doing. I did this with a previous assistant, and when she would send me her end of day email, I'm looking at it going, where's the 8 hours worth of work? I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I currently do that. I always, I ask them to send me one every day. And sometimes if she's out doing something for us on a weekend, which highly unlikely, then also we ask her to come in on only when she comes in on Monday to update us for that, for that weekend. At the bottom of it, we also put in, like kind of time. So if she got there at 9:30 and she left at 4 or 5 o'clock or whatever, usually she's there till 5 anyway, but in case if she leaves early for any particular reason, there's a way to reference hours wise, how much she's, how much time she spent actually been working too.
I love that. Especially if you're paying hourly, you got to find a way to track those hours, right? And there's apps for that, there's ways to do it, but if they're hourly, you got to make sure you're tracking those hours. I love that you have her add that into the email. That's fantastic. Yeah,
and then we also have at the end of the week, we also on Fridays we also do like a payroll kind of thing where she sends us. It's already in that email that's already come to you, but rather than me looking back and trying to add everything together, she's now put it in an Excel sheet where she's showing us Monday came in, this was the hours, Tuesday, so at the end after the 2 weeks are up, because we pay bi-weekly, that way we have total exactly how much she needs to get remunerated for.
Right. And that's a system. And that's what it comes down to. And a lot of times that's why agents hire assistants, because they don't have systems. They want somebody to come in and put these systems in place for them. Right. Which is why you're hiring somebody probably that's the opposite of you. If you don't do systems and you don't create them, then you need somebody that's going to come in and create those systems for you. I've seen agents struggle with letting go of that though. Right? Like you do it your way. You've been doing it your way for so long, and this is just how you do it, but you don't teach them that that's how you do it. And you just say, go with it. And then they do something, and then you're not happy with the way they did it because they didn't do it the way you wanted them to, but there was no communication around how you wanted it done. Right. So
sometimes they're going to bring a system into, like they may modify or change the effectiveness of a system too. Because you've been doing the same system for a year, 2-3 years, doesn't mean that that's the best way to do it. It's just the way that you do it. There may be somebody who can come in and bring in a better system that, will make life easier for you too. And
that's where agents have to learn how to let go. Like it's okay to update the systems. It's okay because technology changes too. I mean, I got into this business in August of 2000. FMLS was a DOS system back then. Like, I'm dating myself here, but technology changes as years go on. So just because the way I did something 20 years ago doesn't need to be the way I do it today. And actually my assistant today would probably strangle me if I told her we were going to do something the same way we did back then. Right?
Yeah.
So things are always evolving, and you have to be open to that. And you have to be open to the ideas that they're going to bring to you and say, hey, I can do this more efficiently if I do it this way. Right? When I was back in the admin role a couple of years ago, when I first started working for the team that I was with, they didn't use a dual entry system to enter their listings. They logged into FMLS and they entered it. They logged into Georgia MLS and did it, right? And this is before Georgia MLS came up with their ditto thing either. Like, you literally had to input it twice. And it would take me 45 minutes. And I'm like, okay, this is so inefficient. For a small fee, I signed them up for Swift. You know, there's other systems now too that do it. Like, this was what was available back then. It was Swift. And for a very small fee, I could enter the information once. It got sent out to both systems and we were live within 15 minutes. To me, that was worth the little bit of money they were spending, because now I had another 30 minutes of time in my day that I could go work on something else. Right? And they were open to that idea. And that's just what I'm saying with you as agents. Be open to those ideas. And sometimes it does cost to spend a little money to bring a system on board or a tool on board, but weigh that against the time that your assistant is spending without using it. How much are you paying them hourly to how much is this tool going to cost, right? Kind of weigh that option.
Which system do you suggest works best?
There's a couple of new ones out there now that I have never used. So I know Swift. I don't think it's the best.
No, not for that. I'm talking about like for the follow-up boss, like for your lead gen.
Oh God, there's so many of them, and agents. I've never used follow-up boss. We used Top Producer when I was their assistant. I don't like Top Producer. It's very clunky. It is not user-friendly and I would not recommend it. But that's what they had. So there's a ton of systems out there for CRMs. Command, does some really cool things. I don't know enough about Command, but I know when it works, it's great. And when it doesn't, it doesn't. There's so many out there. It really is just what works best for you and what budget-wise works for you. Right? I know there's Brivity, and I've heard tons of great things about Brivity, but I've also heard it's really expensive. So if you're not a big team, Brivity may not make any sense yet. Right?
Right.
I don't know if that really answered your question, Scott, but there's a lot of things out there, and doing your research before you jump on board with something too. I see agents that just spend money to get something because they get sold on it, right? Like it happened to me when I was an agent. We bought into this system that I don't even remember what it was called back then, but it was some lead generating system, and it was the biggest waste of money that I had ever seen spent, because we didn't do our research. We went to some seminar and got sold on it and bought it, and then didn't get anything out of it. It was like, okay. So doing your research, asking around to other agents. You guys are in a fantastic office there at East Cobb where agents are using stuff that works. There's no sense in recreating the wheel.
Agreed.
All right, well, that's my information for today. I know we booked an hour for this, but I'm open to questions if y'all have any. Would love to help you guys through the process if you're looking to hire, or if you have hired and still have more questions. I would love to help. Anything? We've had some quiet ones in the room today, so anybody got anything? New agents, do y'all have any questions?
Do you guys just do the transactions, or do you do everything? Do you do Do you do social media, marketing?
Yeah, we do listing entry and contract to close. We also have a virtual marketing department that just launched last week, so super excited about that, where we can help agents with social media, flyers, mailers, touch campaigns, things like that. So, if you're not ready to hire yet and you still need some leverage in your business, then we can help you in the virtual department until you are ready, which is one awesome thing that I love doing, because I can actually see how much business agents are doing in the virtual department for us and help them transition into making that hire so they're not wasting money in that virtual department, which can't happen. I see agents do it all the time. They don't realize how much they're paying per transaction until they add it up at the end of the year and they're like, whoa. Right. So Amy, did that help?
Yeah. Well, do you have prices that you can share with us in an email?
I will get an email to you. Absolutely. I don't know the prices off the top of my head, but I will have Jess, who is our marketing girl, get that information over to you sometime today.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
I would like to have this information too, please, if you don't mind.
Perfect. And is that for the marketing, or are you interested in the contract to close and listing entry as well?
Contract to close and listing as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing what everything is. Yeah, all the pricing.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions that I can help answer for you guys today? Thank you, Scott, for your email address. I'm going to assume everybody's emails are either an FMLS or on kw.com. We can get access there, so we don't have to worry about sharing them in the chat box here. Actually, my assistant's on. I'm sure she's screenshotting this for me. But we will definitely get that information out to you guys. We'll go ahead and just send it to everybody who's here today so that y'all have it. And if you have any questions, there'll be contact information in there so that you can get back to us if you have any questions, and we can help y'all grow your businesses. Awesome.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Y'all have been awesome today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and welcome to spring. Excited. The weather's.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Grace.
Thanks.